Good morning, trading world. It is May 25th, 2022, and this is my pre-market outlook and technical analysis for day trading the SPY. First, let me apologize. I was late getting the pre-market out yesterday, but it was on point. For those of you that didn't see it, you can go back and check it out. I had a somewhat technical issue. For some reason the video was posted in private and I had to go back and change it, and I will make sure that this morning everything is correct once I post the video. Alright, on to today's outlook. Internals and big market cap both show jitters pre-market, but overall still have some upside left in them. Professional money managers are still confused and still rotating to and from pretty charts. Expect a flat to down open that will flirt with going lower, but once order flow catches up, price action will level off and begin to take off to the upside. Let me be clear. We're in a position where we have unlimited risk to the downside right now. But more and more evidence is adding up to a major break waiting until June. Everything is lined up for the break to the downside that could happen at any time. So we must stay on guard for this by limiting downside risk. Today, looking for what happens around the 389, 388 area. If it holds, the long move continues and we could get a nice pop, and breaking above the 393 gives us permission to fly higher. I wouldn't be surprised to see an eventual pop to 404, then up around the 413 area. And I'm saying this because our mega market caps, I'm not going to go through all of them, but the one that I have the most focus on right now is Apple. And Apple seems that it may be poised to hold that 138 area as support, and we can kind of bounce. And as Apple bounces from that, the rest of the market will bounce as well. So that's going to be a big thing, even in the middle of the session yesterday. Another key item to watch as we get to these levels of support on Apple at 138, on the SPY at that 89, 88 area, is to also watch energy, XLE. If XLE breaks lower, that could be the sign that the rest of the market is ready to break. So keep those things in mind: big market cap and energy. All right, give me a moment while I bring up the levels of the day. All right, here we are with the levels of the day, starting on the support side. We have our jack support at 393 to the 392 area. Then we have queen support at the 390 to 388 area, which is going to be very important today, watching to see if this holds. And then on the king support, we have 387 to the 376 area. Now on the resistance side, jack resistance is going to be 394 to the 395 area. We'll be watching that tightly once we get up there as well. There's a lot of resistance here that holds that could possibly break, and breaking above that 393 area down here and here gives us permission to fly. We have our queen resistance area from 396 to the 398 area, then king resistance 399 to the 403 area. The main thesis for today is bullish, closing above the 393.89 area with a projected target high of between 395 and 403. Our alternate thesis is bearish, closing below the 393.89 with a projected target low of 388 down to 382. The current channel we are in is 397 and it goes all the way down to 379. We are still dealing with a gap down that has not been repaired in internals, which means the market is irrational and will flirt with the downside until order flow catches up. Things are still building under the surface for a very explosive pop, which could lead to a 200-point rally on the S&P 500. This could come fast and could come soon, which further supports my thoughts of not getting the real breakdown until June sometime. Therefore, we continue to get teased by price flirting with these lower levels at the start of the day. Alright, give me another moment while I bring up the scenarios of the day. Alright, our first scenario for today is our expansive range day structure, and I want to put extra emphasis on expansive. It can favor a uptrend day because in the expansive range day model, in the regular range day model, we usually set a high and a low, and we usually bounce in between. When I say expansive range day, we may set a low, we may set a high, but at some point we're going to push that boundary during the day. And the other thing that signifies the range day is the crossing of that previous close, and whether closing above it or closing below it, but we cross that previous close. Alright, so on our expansive range day, we could look to set a decision area low boundary around the jack or queen support area before starting our pop up, and we'll see price action similar to this, taking little breaks or rest backs on the way up and retesting prior or retesting clusters on the way up. So that's our most probable scenario today, our expansive range day. And let's bring up the next scenario. Alright, our next day structure could be our rounded reversal day type structure. We could get a continued push higher toward the queen or king resistance area and find midday chop around either the queen or king resistance before spending the same energy we use going up to come back down the second half of the day. Be mindful of the vice versa that can happen on this today, because order flow will lag behind this morning due to the gap that we're trying to repair. So you could get a situation where we get this continued lower, and we basically would have the rounded reversal day type in the other direction, where we start lower, continue lower, and find midday chop around either the queen or king support area, and then spend that same energy that we use coming down the first part of the day to go back up the second half of the day. So just be mindful of the vice versa probability that could happen on the rounded reversal day structure. All right, and let's bring up the last scenario. All right, our last and lowest probable scenario is our trend day down. We could open gap down and start with a rally back toward the previous close represented by the blue line. We find resistance on or before that previous close, then begin the downtrend for the morning. We find midday chop around either the queen or king support, and I don't usually focus on the close on a trend day, but it's something that I want to pay attention to right now because there is a lot of evidence of a pop building just under the surface, and I want to pay attention to how we rally into the close if we do get this down or trend day down type structure. So that's going to be important to me, whether or not we kind of do the normal fizzle and just half-hearted kind of up move going into the close, or whether it's a sharper, more up move going into the close. That kind of gives me an idea of what we're expecting or how much short covering is going on, and whether that can roll into something bigger. So yesterday, if you didn't catch the pre-market yesterday, because it was kind of late, but it was on point, and I did show some guts in stepping up and pulling off or selling a put vertical at that 388 area yesterday, which, like I was keying in the beginning of in the pre-market yesterday, this would be the point for where we could start to kind of turn around. So I'm somewhat looking for the same action today. I'll be looking at that same area, and again, keying off of Apple. If Apple holds its support around 138 and XLE doesn't fall apart, this is going to be a good place to look for that pop to begin again today. So with that, and because of the unlimited risk to the downside today, we have to make sure to limit risk when taking positions like that. Make sure it's a defined risk position, and that you are completely okay with that max loss or max risk on that position. So, as always, please know and understand your risk. I hope this helps. Wishing you a positive trading day. Have a great one.